The deadliest enemy you will ever face is not standing in front of you. It's the version of yourself you refuse to let die. Osaka, 1614. The age of endless war had finally ended. Silence fell across Japan like fog settling over mountains. Thick, heavy, suffocating. Takedo Hiroshi was 50, 8 years old. 230, 1 battles fought. 230, 1 victories claimed. 0 scars on his body, countless wounds in his spirit. His name alone could make warriors drop their weapons. His students moved like shadows, precise, controlled, invisible. But here's the truth nobody speaks about: absolute mastery. It doesn't free you, it buries you alive. Hiroshi had spent 33 years building control so complete that his breath followed patterns, his steps fell in rhythm, his thoughts moved in circles. In that flawless control, he had lost the only thing that separates the living from the dead. The ability to truly be here now, awake. Drop a comment right now if you've ever felt trapped by your own routines. Let me know you're here. This is not a story about building yourself up. This is about what happens when everything you built becomes the thing slowly killing you. The question is not how to create the perfect life. It's how to survive it. Chapter 1. The Man Who Mastered Nothing. Osaka, early summer. Take the family compound, first light. The training ground was immaculate. Wooden swords arranged in perfect rows, stone garden raked into flowing patterns, not a single leaf out of place, not a sound except the measured breathing of 40 students kneeling in formation. Takedo Hiroshi emerged from the main house as he had every dawn for 3 decades. Same moment, same path, same expression. Everything exactly as it had always been. He looked powerful still, 58, but moving with the certainty of iron. White streaked through his hair, lines carved deep around his mouth. But his eyes, those eyes carried something the students never noticed. A void where life should be. Begin, Hiroshi commanded. The students rose as one. Perfect unity. They had been shaped to move identically, think identically, exist identically. No variation, no spontaneity, just flawless repetition of movements handed down through generations. Hiroshi walked between the lines observing. Every strike was measured, every stance was textbook, every exhale was controlled. It was flawless, it was lifeless. Watanabe, Hiroshi called to his most senior student, a man of 35 summers who had trained under him for 19 years. Step forward. They sparred. Watanabe struck exactly as trained. Hiroshi deflected exactly as prescribed. Strike, block, advance, retreat. Like a ritual performed so many times, it had become emptiness wearing the costume of purpose. Hiroshi won. He always won. Not through superior speed or strength, but because his students fought exactly as he had trained them to fight. And there, in that hollow victory, Hiroshi felt the familiar emptiness expand like water filling a well. 33 years of control, and for what? To create warriors who moved like puppets on invisible strings, to transform human beings into perfectly predictable machines. If this hits different for you, hit that subscribe button. This journey gets deeper. Training ends, Hiroshi said suddenly. The students bowed and left in silent order. Perfect discipline, perfect obedience, perfect death. That afternoon, Lord Shimazu summoned Hiroshi to the castle. The Lord praised his discipline, his control, his ability to produce warriors who never waver, never question, never fail. Walking back through Osaka's narrow streets, Hiroshi felt something crack inside his chest. Perfect discipline, perfect obedience, perfect extinction. He had created exactly what society demanded. Warriors who followed commands without hesitation, executed techniques without thought, preserved tradition without understanding its soul. He had taken the warrior's path, which was supposed to awaken something vital in a person, and turned it into a system that crushed that very spark. And the worst realization, he had done this to himself first. That evening, Hiroshi did something he hadn't done in decades. He broke his pattern. Instead of meditating at dusk in his meditation room, he walked to the edge of Osaka, where the city dissolved into wilderness, where structure met chaos, where something untamed still breathed. And for the first time in 33 years, Takedo Hiroshi, master of masters, allowed himself to think a forbidden thought. What if everything I have perfected is precisely what is destroying me? Chapter 2. The Stranger at the Edge 4 days later. Forest boundary. Evening light. Hiroshi returned to the wilderness edge each evening, just sitting, watching, letting his controlled mind quiet enough to notice what had been invisible. On the 4th evening, he discovered someone else there. An elderly monk, perhaps 75 years old, weathered skin, plain robes, sitting on a moss-covered stone beside a narrow stream. Comment below if you've ever met someone who changed everything for you. One person, one moment. The wilderness belongs to no one, the monk said. Sit if you wish. They sat without speaking for several minutes before the monk broke the silence. You are Takedo Hiroshi, the master who never loses, never breaks, never falters. The monk paused, watching the water. Tell me, Hiroshi-san, are you happy? The question struck like a blade finding the gap in armor. Happiness is not the goal of the warrior's path, is it not? Then what is the goal? Discipline, mastery, service, honor, preservation of tradition. And you have achieved all of these, yes, and yet you come here each evening looking like a man who has lost something he cannot name. Hiroshi felt his perfect composure fracture. I have everything I trained to achieve, everything tradition demands of me, but I feel nothing inside. My students execute techniques flawlessly. My discipline never wavers. My legacy is assured, and I am empty. The monk nodded as if this was the most natural thing in the world. Do you know the concept of Shoshin? Beginner's mind, of course. It is a basic Zen principle. Then tell me, when was the last time you experienced it? Hiroshi opened his mouth to answer, then stopped. When had he last approached anything with fresh awareness? When had he last felt wonder, curiosity, the openness of not already knowing? 33 years ago, he whispered. When I was still a student. Shoshin, the monk said, is not only for beginners. It is the essence of being alive itself. The moment you believe you know everything, you stop being present with reality. You are only present with your accumulated knowledge, your past experiences, your rigid expectations. He picked up a small stone and dropped it into the stream. Your discipline has become like still water. Perfectly controlled, beautifully clear, but still water eventually becomes stagnant. Life requires movement, adaptation, willingness to be disrupted. The monk stood, preparing to leave. Wait, Hiroshi said quickly. Who are you? Just a wandering monk. But if you truly want to understand what I am saying, meet me here tomorrow at sunset. Bring your sword. Let me show you something that will either liberate you or destroy you. Subscribe now if you want to see where this goes. Trust me, you need to see what happens next. As the monk walked away, Hiroshi sat with a sensation he hadn't experienced in decades. Uncertainty, and beneath it, the first faint pulse of something that might be called being alive. Chapter 3. The unlearning begins next evening, forest meeting place. The monk was already there. Draw your sword, he said. Hiroshi unsheathed his blade, a perfect weapon, maintained with perfect care, wielded with perfect technique for 33 years. Now attack me with your full skill. I cannot strike an unarmed monk. I did not say strike me. I said attack me. Show me your perfect technique. Hiroshi executed a basic overhead strike. Textbook perfect, precise control. The monk did not move, just watched. Again, he said. Faster, Hiroshi attacked. Multiple strikes, each one flawless. The monk remained motionless. Do you know what I see? I see a man performing choreography. Beautiful, precise, and completely disconnected from this present moment. You are not here now, responding to me. You are executing pre-programmed responses. Your body is here, but you, your awareness, your presence, You are living in the past in memory. Hiroshi felt anger rising. Then what would you have me do? Put down your sword? What? Put it down? Place it on the ground? Hiroshi hesitated, but he did it. Now, I am going to move toward you and you are going to forget everything you know. That is impossible. I understand. That is precisely why this is necessary. The only way to find presence is to first lose all the defenses you have built against it. The monk moved. Hiroshi's body responded automatically. Perfect block, perfect counter, perfect form. Stop, the monk commanded. Do you see? I moved and you executed technique. You did not actually perceive me. You perceived a category and retrieved the programmed response. You are not engaging with me. You are engaging with your memory. Drop a comment if you've ever realized your habits are running your life. I want to hear your story. They continued for over an hour. Every time Hiroshi relied on his training, the monk exposed the gap. Every time Hiroshi executed perfect technique, it failed because reality did not match the template. Finally, exhausted and humiliated, Hiroshi stopped. I do not understand. You are telling me that 33 years of training are worthless. No, I am telling you that 33 years of training have become a cage. Your technique is magnificent, but you have confused technique with truth, form with essence, memory with presence. Then teach me, Hiroshi said, hearing desperation in his voice. I cannot teach you what you need to learn. I can only remove what is blocking you from discovering it yourself. For the next 7 days, I am going to give you challenges. Each one will require you to abandon something you believe makes you a master. Each one will feel like dying, and each one will be necessary for you to become truly alive. The first challenge is this. For the next 3 days, you are forbidden from teaching your students, forbidden from practicing any technique you know, forbidden from doing anything you have done before. You must approach every moment as if you have never experienced it. That is impossible. I run a training compound. I have responsibilities. Then delegate them or suspend training. This is more important. Because right now, take to Hiroshi, you are not a warrior. You are a very sophisticated ghost, haunting the memory of who you used to be. And ghosts, no matter how perfect their form, are already dead. The words struck deeper than any blade ever had. Chapter 4, The Breaking Point, Days 4 through 6. Hiroshi tried to follow the monk's instruction, but 33 years of pattern ran too deep. He woke at dawn, same time, walked to the compound, same steps, reached for his sword, same motion. Every impulse was predetermined. By midday of the first day, he was in crisis. Without his routines, without his techniques, without his knowledge, who was he? On the third evening, frustrated and exhausted, he returned to the forest clearing. I cannot do it, he admitted. Every moment I try to be present, my training takes over. I have automated myself so completely that I cannot find spontaneous response anymore. Good, the monk said. Good, you have discovered the problem. That is the first real step. If you're still watching, subscribe. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Let me tell you about Mushin, the state of no mind, the monk continued. I know Mushin. It is a fundamental concept. You know about Mushin. That is different from knowing Mushin itself. Now tell me, have you ever actually experienced it? Hiroshi searched back through 33 years and realized no, never. Every action he took was deliberate, controlled, executed with full conscious awareness of technique. Because you have spent 33 years building the opposite. You have created a mind so full of technique that there is no space for Mushin to arise. You filled the cup so completely with accumulated knowledge that nothing new can enter. The monk picked up Hiroshi's sword. Watch this. He swung the sword, not in any recognizable form, just swung it, following the natural weight of the blade, the momentum, the shape of the space. It was messy, unpredictable, completely unprofessional, and it was the most alive thing Hiroshi had seen in decades. I do not know any formal technique, the monk said. So when I swing the sword, I am just swinging the sword. No memory, no comparison, no judgment, just this moment, this weight, this movement, but that is sloppy, inefficient, against every principle you have memorized, but is it false? Or is it just different from what you believe should be true? Hiroshi stared at the sword. Had he ever, even once in 33 years, just swung it without reference to form, without comparison to ideal? No, never. He had turned himself into a quality control mechanism, and in the process stopped being a human being responding to life itself. The next challenge, the monk said, tomorrow, spend the entire day doing everything wrong. Deliberately break every rule you have built, eat at the wrong time, walk the wrong route, hold your sword the wrong way, let yourself be completely improper. Hiroshi felt his entire identity rebelling. That is against everything I have, exactly, which is why it is necessary. You need to discover that the world does not end when you are imperfect. That you, the essential you beneath all the training, survives when every external structure is removed. That night, Hiroshi lay awake, terrified. The monk was asking him to dismantle the architecture of his entire existence. Day 7 arrived. The monk attacked him, really attacked him, and told him to respond with no technique, no training, no memory. They tried again and again. Each time, Hiroshi's training took over. Then the monk created an attack pattern Hiroshi had never encountered, something no classical form addressed. And in that moment of genuine not knowing, something shifted. Hiroshi moved, not from technique, not from memory, just moved. His body responded to the actual threat, the actual space, the actual moment. It was messy, inefficient, completely unlike his perfect form. And it worked. For one heartbeat, just one, he had been present, truly completely present. Comment below if you've ever had a moment where everything suddenly made sense. I need to know I'm not alone here. Did you feel it? The monk asked. Yes, for just a moment I was here. Not remembering being here, but actually here. That is Zanshin, remaining awareness. Not the awareness of technique, but awareness itself. Raw, direct, before thought divides it into categories. Hiroshi sat heavily on the ground, trembling. I have spent my entire life building perfect discipline, perfect control, perfect technique, and it was all just a defense. A way to avoid ever having to be truly present with the unknown. The monk offered him his hand. The final challenge: return to your compound, face your students, and teach them not what you know, but what you have just discovered. Teach them that mastery is not the end. It is the place where true learning can finally begin. Chapter 5, The Transformation. Hiroshi returned to his compound. His students knelt in perfect rows. Sensei, Watanabe said, shall we resume regular training? No, Hiroshi said. Today we do something different. Put away your swords. For the next 7 days, I am going to teach you how to forget everything you know. If this is resonating with you, subscribe now. We're going somewhere powerful. Some students were horrified. Others felt something awaken. On the 7th day, visiting masters came to observe. They expected perfect synchronization. Instead, they saw chaos. Students moving unpredictably, techniques being invented spontaneously, forms being broken and reassembled moment by moment. Take Dasan, one master said with contempt, what has happened to your discipline? I discovered it was killing my students. Now I am teaching them to be alive. The visiting masters left, scandalized. Word spread. Hiroshi had gone mad. His enrollment dropped. Lords stopped sending their sons. But the students who stayed transformed. They moved differently, fought differently, carried themselves with a presence that made observers uncomfortable because it was so alive, so unpredictable, so real. One afternoon, a young samurai from a rival school challenged Hiroshi. The young man attacked with perfect technique. Hiroshi did not counter with classical response. He just moved not from technique, but from presence. His response was unorthodox, unpredictable, completely outside any curriculum. and devastatingly effective. What school was that? The young man asked, confused. No school, Hiroshi said. Just this moment. The final teaching 3 years later, a former student returned, one who had left when Hiroshi went mad. Sensei, the man said, I have trained at 4 other compounds. All of them taught me perfect technique. But I feel dead inside, and I remembered that before you changed, you looked the same way. Dead inside despite being perfect outside. Now you look alive. Do you want to learn that? Yes, but I am afraid. I understand. Let me tell you what I have learned. The warrior path has been taught wrong for centuries. We teach young men to build perfect discipline, perfect control, perfect technique. We tell them this is mastery, but it is not. It is just stage 1. Stage 1 is necessary. You need foundation, technique, discipline. Without it, you are just chaos. But stage 1 is just preparation for stage 2. Stage 2 is learning that everything you built in stage 1 can become your prison. That perfect discipline can make you rigid. That complete control can make you unable to adapt. Stage 3, true mastery, is learning when to use what you built and when to abandon it completely. It is holding discipline lightly enough to let it go when presence demands it. Subscribe if this is hitting you. Share this with someone who's trapped in their own perfection. Most warriors never reach stage 3 because they cannot bear the death of stage 1. They would rather live as perfect but dead masters than risk the chaos of becoming students again. But here is the secret. The death is not real. What dies is only the identity you built around the discipline. The discipline itself remains. You just stop being enslaved to it. Years later, Hiroshi was 66. His small compound had become known not for producing the most disciplined warriors, but for creating the most adaptable ones. One evening, he sat with the wandering monk again. I tell my students now, Hiroshi said, perfect discipline is just the beginning. Real mastery is learning when discipline itself is the obstacle. The monk smiled. Those are the ones who become truly dangerous, because they have both discipline and freedom, both structure and adaptability, both form and formlessness. A young student approached. Sensei, I do not understand your teaching. It contradicts itself. You say build discipline, then abandon it. Follow form, then break it. Master technique, then forget it. How can all these contradictions be true? Hiroshi smiled. They cannot be, that is the point. Truth lives in the space between the contradictions, not in choosing one side over the other. I still do not understand. Good. That is the perfect place to begin. Leave a comment right now. What's one perfect routine that's become a prison for you? Let's talk about it. Hiroshi sat alone, surrounded by weapons that had tasted blood in 231 duels, surrounded by a legacy of unlearning. He had become a master by forgetting how to be one. He had found presence by abandoning perfect control. He had discovered life by allowing his perfect discipline to die. And somewhere in that death, he had found something no technique could teach, no tradition could preserve, no discipline could capture. The raw, alive, present moment itself. The old master closed his eyes and breathed. No special technique, no perfect posture, just breathing. And in that simple act, he was more powerfully present than 33 years of perfect discipline had ever made him. This is the way beyond mastery. The path that begins where achievement ends. The warrior who is truly dangerous because they have nothing left to defend. Subscribe now, drop a comment, share this story, because someone you know is trapped in their own perfection. And this might be exactly what sets them free. The ultimate teaching is this: there is no ultimate teaching, only endless presence with what is.